Woman Who Chat is sponsored by Grow Radio. Grow Radio is an online radio station dedicated to bringing you a different podcast on the hour every hour. I'm proud that Woman Who Chat is played on Grow Radio every Tuesday at 3 p.m. and Friday at 8 a.m. and to be part of their podcasting community. If you want to listen to the station, explore their shows, get your podcast onto Grow Radio, and check out many of the blogs to improve your podcasting skills. So head over to growradio.uk today. Welcome to Woman Who Chat, and today I'm chatting with Andrea Rainsford. We're going to be talking all things business on your terms. But before that, I'd just like to welcome Andrea. I've known Andrea for many years now, through the highs, through the lows. And obviously you've shared your incredible journey in a number of ways. I think back on episode 27 and episode 50 on the podcast, if you want to look at that, and we'll put the links in the show notes. But also, you've had a journey from corporate life into business, which is in common with a lot of people, but you didn't quite do it in the usual way. And you had a number of setbacks and you've overcome a number of challenges, won awards, featured in books, all sorts. Welcome, Andrea Rainsford. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. It's always fabulous to chat to you.
Our listeners can go back and listen to the other episodes and find out your full story. But I think it's good if you can give us just a brief intro into how you went from corporate to your own business.
Yeah, I think it's most of us, most female business owners that move from corporate into their own business, it's usually because of a life change, or because life just isn't, they're just not living life the way they would want to. I think the signs were there that I was working far too hard, but I think, we choose to ignore them at our peril, don't we? And my decision was made for me. I was first diagnosed with ME in 2003. Fought against it because, like many people at that time, I didn't feel like it was a proper illness. Then went on to have a stroke in 2005 at the age of 32. And so life took a turn then that, I wasn't expecting. I don't think any of us would know what to do in those circumstances. And I did it took me a long time to fight back. But I think that's the key, is that we all have ups and downs in life. We all face trauma. We all face times where we're struggling, really struggling. And I think the thing is to keep fighting back. And that's exactly what I did, really. And then I think it was 5 or 7 years into my recovery, I was still in my wheelchair, decided to go back to university and study, gained new qualifications in computing science, and then set up SEO Angel. So we've skimmed over it quite quickly, but it was a very, very long and hard road back. And SEO Angel was a business that was set up on my terms, because I wasn't able to go out to work. I didn't have the health. I didn't have the energy. And it started with a few hours a day in front of a laptop in my bed while I was, trying to find my way back into life, really.
And I look back at your journey and, I followed you on social media, probably through some of those early challenging times when you were launching SEO Angel. And to the outside world, nobody would have really known what was going on.
No.
You're a woman in business, you'd launched a new business, and you sort of spoke to the world and, you told it as it was. But business really is such that, we do have setbacks. Everybody has setbacks in business.
Exactly.
And I think it's how you face them and how you deal with them. Not everybody has got your resilience, but you've been an inspiration to many through the challenges you faced. And let's not get away from this. You were on crutches, a walking stick for many years. This wasn't just an overnight thing, was it? 17
years. Yeah, it's 20 years this year since I was diagnosed with ME, which blows my mind, to be fair. I have no idea when I look back how I got here, and I think that's testament, isn't it, to ourselves, that we just put it behind us and we keep striving forward and we keep looking for the next thing, and we're moving on to the next thing. I always say to my clients, only look back to see how far you've come. I can't really believe it. It's my 50th birthday in a couple of weeks, and I'm so proud of myself, of what I've achieved. because, you know, the doctor said I'd never walk. And anybody that says anything to me, oh no, you can't do that, my dad will tell you, I'm just like, I'm so bloody minded. It's like, okay, then I'll show you how I can do it. And that's just in the core of me. And I'm so like my dad. I know you're a lot like your dad. And it makes me smile all the time. And Ian actually calls me by my dad's name sometimes because I share so many of his characteristics. But yeah, I think my dad always said to me, you can do it. You can do it. And he always had this unfaltering belief in me that whenever I felt like I wasn't going to walk or I wasn't going to get off my crutches, he'd just give me a little wink and say, you can do it. And I think it was just that gentle nurturing that whenever I had a time where I thought I wasn't going to do it, I believed. And it's the same in business. You know, a lot of the women that I speak to when I'm working with them on a daily basis, they don't dream big. They don't dare to dream. They don't think they can achieve. It isn't about six figures, and it isn't about, you know, hustling every day to show the outside world that you're fabulous. It's about your goals, your achievements. What does success look like to you? What does a successful business, what would the legacy you would like to leave behind? It's about that really, and it's about daring to dream big, because we had a chat at the recent Woman Who event when we were talking about, you know, me not walking with sticks anymore and how far I've come. And a lady said to me, how come you've got heels on? And I said, you know, when I started working with a PT, it was completely all about mindset. As soon as he said to me, you can do this, you've got this, and I'm going to help you to do that last little bit. Sometimes you just need somebody to believe in you alongside you, so that your mindset is, yeah, I can do this and I can achieve this.
And this is coming back to the limiting beliefs again, isn't it? You know, we tend to limit our beliefs into what we think we can do and not stretch ourselves really. And I'm not on about racing forward and wishing your life away, because we've got to be as well and enjoy the journey, because it's not a rehearsal. But a lot of us limit what we think our potential could be.
Exactly.
And I think that in some ways, you know, like you, I say dream big and then dream bigger, because actually, you know, you don't know what you don't know. And if
sky's the limit.
Absolutely. And what does it say? Reach for the stars or aim for the stars and land on the moon, or what? I don't know what the saying is. Yeah. But you know, you can really put yourself out there and you can really achieve things. When you said, I invited you to speak at the awards a couple of years ago, and you said, well, my goal there is to walk up onto the stage unaided. And you know, you virtually did that, and everyone in the room was willing you to do that. There was such belief in you were going to do that, and you stood on stage and you delivered your keynote. And I never forget you saying, my next goal is I want to dance.
Yeah, it's going to happen on my 50th holiday. So Ian and I are going away. We're going away for a week. The main reason for that is, I'm sure you'll understand this, it feels so really, really hard to stay at home because my parents aren't here, and I'm just facing my mum's first anniversary. So it feels like I need to go and celebrate and do something fabulous and, you know, have the best possible time that I can. And it felt like I could do that away from home this year. And we've got so much planned. We're going to do so much, because you can, you know, I could stay at home and be sad, or I can go and make him proud, because I know that he'd be pursing me up there going, that isn't the daughter that I raised, that isn't the strong woman that I raised, sat at home, you know, wishing we were both here. And the dancing will happen this year. I haven't had the opportunity really to go dancing, but it's and Ian's going to film it, and we're gonna make a big thing of it, because I've been saying it for over 10 years now. So to finally get here, and I'm having a business birthday celebration, as you know, because for my 50th, I've invited everybody that was important to me getting to where I am today, and Ian's created a playlist, so I'm hoping there's going to be some dancing there as well.
Oh, well, I'll make sure of it, because I'm going to be there.
Yes, we'll be in the middle of it.
You know, I've broken enough bones to want to dance as well. So
Yeah.
Let's talk about business on your terms. I mean, you've mentioned, sadly, you lost both your parents in recent years. I lost my dad, and you do have to step back a little bit, don't you, and juggle things around and be there to care for your relatives, and people might have other caring responsibilities. So, what does business on your terms look like now for you?
I think the amazing thing is that because I had such a fabulous business development background, I started to implement a model into my business, many years ago, where I had passive, group and one-to-one products. And I think because of that model, it enabled me that when Ian and Dad got sick and I needed to take time out, it meant that I could still carry on earning, and it meant that I could still be the main earner, because Ian hasn't been able to find his way back because of various different things. And I'm very proud that I managed to achieve that, and it gave me the space. But I think you and I are very similar in some ways, in that, we're very proud of what we've achieved. And because you're so proud and because you love what you do so much, you want to keep striving forward, and you want to keep pushing, and you want to keep helping as many people as you can. But then the realization comes one day that you can't be everything to everybody, and your body and your health start to give you a little bit of an indication that you're pushing too hard. I mean, I know that you've broke a number of bones, and I think it's your body's way of telling you that you've got to stop it, and you've got to take a breath out. But yeah, you do. I had to take 6 months out with Dad, and then I went straight into caring for Mum, as you did after my dad passed away. She lasted 12 months, and it's probably the hardest 2 years, and a lot of people say that's, I can't believe that, because you went through the stroke, and you fought so hard to get back. And I think this was harder in so many different ways, because you can't live the life that you want to live, you can't run the business that you want to, you can't help as many people as you want to. And then I think you just have to, it's not admitting a defeat, but you have to accept your circumstances, and you have to do what's in your capability and what's within your remit at that time. And if that meant that I could only turn up for an hour a week, that was all I could do. And I think that the important thing to say, as I'm sure you will reiterate this, is that it doesn't go away just because you take time off. Your visibility doesn't disappear. Your business doesn't disappear. What people think about you and how good they think you are, and none of that disappears. And when you come back, it's just like getting back into a comfy seat and off you go again. It can take a little bit of time to, to let people know you're back and to get your visibility back, but it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. We think we can't take our foot off the gas, and we think we can't take time out because we're not going to have a business to come back to. But that just isn't the case, is it?
No, I don't mean, a similar, as you say, we've got very similar backgrounds in that, my dad passed away at the start of COVID, and then I was caring for my mum for the last nearly 2 years now. And the last 12 months, I've just had to take a real step back. And I did say in a recent social media post, my visibility didn't disappear. You don't have to do it all every day.
No.
You can do it on your terms. And it's just about dipping in and out when you can, and accepting that you can't do it all. I think exactly. The acceptance is a huge part of it. And you can't do it all. You can't be everything to everybody. And it's a big, brave decision to step back for a while. But I've done it with with authenticity and honesty, really, in telling people what's going on. And I think sometimes we're too frightened as women in business to say, this is what's going on for me right now, because we see so many women out there doing it all, winning awards, and everything, these perfect lives, but they're not really. I bet their little feet like ducks are paddling away underneath.
Exactly.
But
I mean, you must get told all the time that you look like you've got it totally together, and you look like that, you've got it made. And I get told that all the time, and I just laugh, and I say, I'm totally honest, about the way things are. I'm still grieving. I haven't even hit the first anniversary from my mum yet. I'm still grieving. Days are still tough, but I'm honest about that, because I don't think we can keep going onto social media, putting out all of the great stuff, all of the wonderful stuff, when we're winning clients and we're doing well, without the bad and the ugly, because it's there and it happens, and it's not a true representation of life if we're not saying that. And I think the more of us that do it, that women can see, yeah, it's okay to take time out. It's okay to take my foot off the gas. I don't need to be hustling all the time. I don't need to be on social media every day of the week, 24/7, because I don't think that's realistic. I really don't.
And there is a pressure upon us from, lots of sort of social media gurus. You've got to be on there every day, 4 times a day, all this. And it just isn't the case. I mean, there was some times I just couldn't face going on social media at all. And I was having breaks of 3 and 4 weeks. I was still looking at things, the odd scroll, the odd comment, but nothing myself. And I thought, oh, people must think I've fallen off the edge of a cliff. So I put one post out and my audience was still there.
Exactly.
What was going on? They were allowing me time, and so many people checked in with me. So many messages, which you probably found as well. Are you okay? And thinking about you and know what's going on. Thank you for your honesty. And I think it is about that, isn't it? It's about realizing and accepting that you have to take a step back, but your audience will forgive you. Your audience will be there.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think they're there for when you come back. I can remember my first LinkedIn post back and I thought it's going to flop. There's hundreds of people all over it because people care, people are supporting you, people want you to come back, and they're there and ready to support you. I think it's if you're not being your authentic self and you're putting on a front and you're not writing from the heart and you're not talking honestly, people can see that. The days when you turn up when you really don't want to be there and you're putting content out, people can tell when your heart's not in it. People can tell when you're trying too hard to be something that you're not. And I get that with a lot of my clients all of the time, is that they're hustling so hard and they're trying so hard that it puts people off because they can feel the tone and the message behind it and they can see that it's not authentic. There's a lovely lady that came to our talk last week, and she commented on my social media post yesterday and said, I find it really, really hard to come out as me. I feel like I've got to be somebody else. And we hear that every day of the week, don't we? That women just don't feel they can be who they are and who they should be.
Yeah, and it's all about being your authentic self. And I think, whether that's, I always say, never share anything you wouldn't want to see on the front of a newspaper, but also be prepared to share warts and all, because business is tough. I did a social post recently about business being like a roller coaster. You've got your ups and downs. Occasionally you'll want to throw up, but we go around and we get back on again.
Exactly.
And that's what it's all about. That is the journey. It is a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster ride.
It is, and it's not for the faint-hearted either. And I think the fact that you're a woman in business and you've set up your own business, you need to give yourself a hell of a pat on the back, because you never switch it off. With the best will in the world, I have designated, times on social media. I have designated times at my desk. Your mind is always still ticking over, because when you're a businesswoman, you're always thinking about the next thing, the next best thing, the next thing you want to do, what you want to achieve, where you want to go. And that's just the mindset that goes with running a business. But you should pat yourself on the back, because it's a fabulous thing that you've done. So many don't have that, have the nerve to be able to do that. I was sort of forced into it in many ways, because there wasn't really many other opportunities available to me. And you have to do what you've got, you have to make the best of what you've got available, don't you? But while I was taking time off when Dad died and then Mum died, straight after, I came back with a new business this year, and a lot of people have said to me, I just don't know what goes on in your head. You don't just take time off and rest. You come back and you launch a new business, and that's just the way that we are, isn't it?
The similarities keep on going there. I break a bone and I develop new. So it's, and I don't know whether, I think it's because when we do have a setback, or when I was caring for my mum or breaking my wrist or whatever, it does make you stop. And I think that gives you the space then to think, oh well, actually that's come into my head, and that's come into I capture everything down. I've got an ideas book. It all goes down in there. Some ideas, I just park them. Other ideas happen. Like Woman Who, that was an idea that I had once. But it's about sort of pulling those ideas together and thinking, well, actually, this could work. And I think sometimes when you do take a step back, you're able to take 2 steps forward.
I totally agree with that, because I had so much time. I needed time. Don't you, when grief has gotten hold of you and you've just got to step away, because it will come out in some way, shape or form. You can try and stop it, but it is going to come out, and that's okay, because you've loved these people for all of, since the day you were born. So it's okay to take that time. But it gave me the bravery, because my business development career is 30 years old this year, and I've always done business development as part of SEO Angel, because every client that I've had, the only way that I get results is by making sure they've got a business plan and a strategy, and they know where their audience are, and they know where they're going to get there. I do that sort of stuff automatically. And so it was about time I got my big girl pants on, and I just went out to the world and said, this is what I do. And the point I'd like to make about the new business is, before I even had a name, before I even had a logo, before I even had a brand, I launched the Consistent Income Club, and it was full. And it was full because people buy into you. People have bought into me for many, many years. They haven't bought into the new business. I would go as far to say as they don't really care what your new business is. They want you. They want what you're delivering. They want what you're offering. They want you to get them, the transformation for where they want to get to. And so I think we get hung up on, I need to launch a business, I need a website, I need social media, I need an email address, I need a logo. We get hung up on all of these things. I quite honestly say that people buy into you. I've now got a brand, I've got a logo, I've got all of those things. That's about me, really. That isn't about the audience. That isn't about the people that are watching what we're doing. That just makes you look, probably a little bit more professional, and looks like you've got it all together. But the new business doesn't have a website yet, because I'm taking my time. I'm doing it properly. I'm not rushing. I'm not hustling. I'm not making myself tired by trying to, to knock another website out, because I've just launched the new SEO Angel website. So what I don't want to do is make myself tired and put myself under too much pressure. But the new SEO Angel the business is linked to the new one. They go hand in hand together, because at the core of what I do is helping women to thrive, and that's the reason why you and I met, was because I could see that was what you want. That's what you wanted. And I'm going back a little bit now, but that day in 2017 when I came, it was the first time I'd been out on my own. It's the first time I'd driven anywhere on my own. I was so nervous. I haven't been in a room of people for so many years. And this community of people welcomed me. I can remember meeting Jules White. I can remember meeting Michelle Mills Porter. I can remember meeting Rachel Carter. You were on crutches that day. The day that I met you, we had a matching set between us. And those people have become, and you included, have become so instrumental and important in my life. Dave Sharp, Jude Jennison, Nishi Mehta, and Karen Heap, they were the judges behind the table that day. They've become really close friends. So, I know the Solopreneur Awards are open for entry, and I just can't have the words to say what a difference it will do to your business and to you. It isn't about winning. It really isn't about winning. The interview day, getting together with women, getting together with the judges, turning up on the awards day, it changes your business, and it changes, it gives you visibility beyond belief. And I think it's important to know that, because so many are scared to enter an award because they think, I'm not going to win. Isn't about that, is it?
It's about the journey, and it's about maximizing the opportunities along the way. And I think I'll pick up on something you said there. A lot of people don't enter because they say, I haven't got a website yet, I haven't got my logo yet. It's not about that. It's about the person. It's about the journey. It's about the story. And I think that's what shone through to the judges the most when you went for your first award, was the story behind where you've got to where you are at that point in time. And a lot of people can't articulate that story, which is what Woman Who's all about, helping you find that story. But people do. You can sell anything. It's about the person behind the business. I think I've said this probably on every podcast, but the first thing people look at when they go onto a website is the about page. Just find out who's behind the business. I do it myself. You people are inherently nosy. They want to know about the person. They don't bother about what they're selling. They want to know what their hobbies are, what their interests are, what their passions are. And then that shines through. So as you say, we've both done various businesses or various elements of our businesses. but people follow us because they buy into us as individuals and into our stories.
And there are always going to be people that don't like you, that don't connect with you, that aren't part of your tribe, and that's totally and utterly fine, because we don't want to be right for everybody. We don't want to be right. You know, the people that work with us are our people, and you should be turning up to work every morning, working with people that you love, people that you're excited to see, people that you want to see them thrive. If you're turning up every day and you're just not happy and they're not the right clients and they're just not the right fit for you, you can change it. You know, I absolutely love the people that I'm working with, because I wear my heart on my sleeve and they connect with me. There's going to be people out there that think I'm far too sensitive, they think I'm far too emotional. That's fine. It just means that then, you know, they're not my people. We don't have the same character, we don't have the same personality. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them, there's nothing wrong with me. I wear my emotion and my sensitivity like a badge of honor on my chest, because it is who I am. But you know, I've been trolled on LinkedIn numerous occasions because I wanted to change how SEO was taken to the world. The people that do SEO didn't like it. You know, for me, it had to be about you. It had to be about your business. It had to be about your personality. It had to be how you show up. And so there was a lot of business development before we get to the tech stuff. You know, a lot of people were thriving without the tech stuff, and that made them feel as though they were inadequate. That made them feel as though somebody was out there showing that their job wasn't as important as they thought it was. It's totally okay. It really is okay to do things differently. You know, in your area, in your industry, in your business, it's totally okay to do things differently. You don't have to tread the path that everybody else has. Sometimes we can be brave and say, well, I do it differently and I do it this way. And it's totally okay to say that. All I ever do is just block and delete. I don't interact. I don't comment with these people, because I know that I'm doing a wonderful thing, and I know that I'm where I need to be. You're always going to get people that don't agree with that, and we should never be scared of that. I know a lot of people are scared of social media for that reason, aren't they?
They're scared of social media because they're frightened, and they're also scared of being visible, for fear that people are going to attack them on social media.
Exactly.
It is, you know, Marmite. Not everybody likes Marmite. You'll have those that love it and those that don't. So not everybody's right for everybody, and there's enough business out there for everybody.
There is.
Because everybody's growing, everybody wants to do well, and you know, anyone that's delivering a service or a product, they're you know, if you've got the right audience and you're selling to the right audience, then you'll succeed. But you don't have to have it with bells and whistles on. You don't have to be there all the time.
No.
You know, you can fit a business around your family commitments, around children. I know lots of women that run their business just do it during school hours and do very well at it. Yeah.
I don't work 5 days a week. I work 3. And that's because my health has always got to come first. And plus, I want to live my life now. I spent so many years not being able to live the life that I wanted. It's time for me to live now. I'm not looking after my parents anymore. Like you, I looked after them for 5 years. That was such a big chunk of time. And I feel like I've got, an added sense of freedom now. What I can't then do is put that time into working and just doing what I did before, and just 5 days a week at my computer, work. I love my business, but I love me more. And I need to be able to live the life that I want to lead. And I think that the point that I would like to make a bit about the awards is that I have a £10,000 package as part of my services, and I've recently taken on a £10,000 client on that package. I've taken a few this year, but the one that's most recently signed up I met her at the awards in 2018.
Wow.
She's followed me all that time. She's said, I knew that I would work with you one day. I knew you were the woman for me. Now I'm in a position to do it. So if that isn't an example of, you just don't know what's going to come from the people that you meet on your journey. And her words, not mine. The fact that you won your award, I thought to myself, she's got to be pretty good at what she does.
There you go. And it's about those connections. It's about those those seeds that you plant along the journey. And that's why womanhood is a journey. You can dip in, dip out, come in at any time, but it's those all important connections that come from nowhere.
Exactly.
I hear so many stories of women that have met other women, either at a network event or at the awards or through the academy, and those connections are formed into collaborations or working together or working for each other. It's been absolutely phenomenal. and you never know where those connections are going to form.
Yeah, so I think my recommendation was just be to try and come to as many masterminds as you can. If you're not in the academy, then you need to join. You most definitely need to be in the community, because the community is a fabulous place to be, and it's such a supportive place as well. And it's a place where you can be yourself, and it's a place where you can turn up and be you, and you don't have to put on. While you're just getting to grips with, putting yourself out there in the world and being you and turning up as you. It's a safe space for you to be able to do that.
Thank you for your kind words there. That's lovely. Well, it's been fantastic talking to you today. I always ask my guests to leave a top tip for my audience. What would your top tip or piece of advice be around business on your terms?
I think it's got to be around self-belief. It's got to be about dreaming big. It's got to be about believing in yourself and believing that anything is possible. I say to the ladies, it took me 17 years to walk unaided. If I hadn't have had the mindset, if I hadn't have believed in myself, if I didn't think it was possible, I would never have got there. And so if I can do that, that the ladies listening can do anything, the sky's the limit.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrea. It's been great talking to you. We're going to put all your links in the show notes so people can get in touch with you, find out a little bit more about you. We'll put the links to the previous podcasts. But in the meantime, thank you very much for being my guest today.
My pleasure.